Okay.
We are not from
Please
tier
start.
3, no? The discussion is about tier 2, tier 3. We are all from Metro, Bombay, Pune, right?
Uh,
That's why it's not letting us get inside. Smita,
Yeah,
hi,
yeah,
what's
nice.
up? Smita, we can't see you. You
Yash.
there?
Yes, Yash.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to complete some mail.
Acha.
I'm good. How are you guys? I didn't manage to catch some of your conversations
yep.
though.
So I think we're actually live now. Um,
Okay.
so sorry, deeply sorry about the delay. Uh, my name is Yash. A very good afternoon to everybody. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 16th edition of the India Digital Summit, Supercharging Startups, organized by the Internet and Mobile Association of India. The summit is supported by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, and the Niti Aayog. Welcome to our panel discussion on the unmetro phenomenon, how to connect tier 2 and tier 3 cities. We would like to thank our digital financial management partner, EaseBuzz, our conversational messaging partner, Gupshup, our session partner, GoQuick, our gold partners, Manorama Online, Blink Digital, and Yellow AI, and our silver partner, ShareChat. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the moderator, Mr. Neil Shah, Vice President, Research and Co-founder, Counterpoint Research, who will moderate today's discussion. And joining us today, we have a distinguished set of leaders. Please welcome Ms. Smita Murarka, CMO Duroflex, Mr. Amit Setia, Head Marketing Cisca Group, and Mr. Ajit Sahu, Director Marketing ShareChat. I would request all delegates to keep posting their questions in the chat box, and the panel will address a few at the end of the session if time permits. Over to you, Mr. Shah.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for the delay. We got some time to get introduced to ourselves. Without further ado, let's start this session. The theme is like the entire demand and entire trend for demand and consumption is moving from metros to tier 3, tier 4, tier 2 cities, right? And more than two-thirds of the population lives there, right, in India. And what we are seeing here is this is the demand is not only just moving in terms of content services, internet, but also in terms of FMCG and all the different brands consumption, higher end brands as well. So for this, to discuss this, actually, we have a very great panel as Yash introduced. So the first question which I would like to ask the panel, maybe I can start with Smita, is uh, how is the demand, basically the direct consumption of the different goods and services shifting from urban areas to tier 3? So what trends you are seeing for your particular company in terms of, and how those consumption are happening, and what are the key drivers for those?
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Neil, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. I think it's a very interesting topic, very well timed. From a third wave perspective, that's when again we are looking out for each other as a country, as a nation, and we're looking to improve the way our lifestyle is, the way we live, the way we share knowledge about whether it's health, whether it's tips about how to keep safe. I think a lot of that has happened over the last 3 years. And the crux of this whole unity is to say is the digital penetration, really. So, the digital penetration has really helped us share knowledge, share instant motivation tips, or pulling out each other. What we do to friends on a one on one basis, that has really spread far and wide to the country thanks to the digital penetration, whether it's social media or through news, which is also completely shifted online. So a lot of that is able to happen because today we are having information on our fingertips. The digital penetration was also because of COVID, right? An unfortunate situation, but there are a lot of positive trends that have come out of this behavior. So education, there was no other way to get educated but to put digital in the hands of young, old, everybody. So every home did have a digital asset. Coming to our business, our mission is really to help India sleep better, and our primary product portfolio is mattresses. which pre-pandemic, even for a metro consumer, was very difficult to understand the importance and pay a premium and really buy a great quality product. And today we see that completely changed, not only in the metro audience, but in the affording, the segment that we target, which is a masstige to premium kind of a segment. It's completely changed across India. A lot of our sales, if you see, are not only online but offline sales as well. In normal situations, equally come from a metro and a non-metro consumer. Again, this is because they are learning about the importance of this. Brands like us are really speaking a lot about how this product impacts your health, how 8 hours of sleep is important. So after consuming all this knowledge, if the brand is available at their choice of purchase, whether it's an online platform or an offline store, since we are very well penetrated in both the formats. In fact, in our category, we're the only omni brand where we it is available at every consumer's choice of channel. So after they've really absorbed the knowledge, it's very easy for them to go and experience the product and see the difference. So all these things have really helped us grow our business exponentially. And we do hope that this spreads to larger territories. The entire India today is able to work from a lot of categories, like you just mentioned you've been working from home over the last few years, and this is spreading to a lot of industries today. Pre-pandemic, even our business was not really equipped to handle work from home situations, but today we are fully equipped to work from home, work from anywhere, which means we are recruiting talent from across the country. They're getting educated, they're coming into the system of working for good brands, sitting out of their homes, which could be p towns, really small towns, and therefore their knowledge is spreading to their family, their network. So a lot of net, I think there are a lot of reasons why this phenomena is happening, and it has got expedited through the pandemic in a much faster way than that was expected. I think overall, this is great for our country that we are not going to hopefully talk about this huge divide, between the metros and the non-metros anymore, looking forward. So, yeah.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. Staying working from home for years, and the best investment I made was buying a good mattress. And sleep is very important, I would say, because now we are working from home, you're working longer hours, right? So you need to relax and rest a bit. And then maybe I'll move gears and just check with Amit on what his thoughts are, considering like Cisco is growing so fast across all domains, and everyone is spending more time at home now. So the need for smart home is also increased, right? So, and I've seen your products across not only offline but online is also becoming a major uh, portion for you. And that is where talking to a e-commerce retailer last month, post Diwali, he said the the growth from e-commerce, the tier 3, tier 4 is like 400% in terms of orders across the platforms. So I would like to know your thoughts, what you are seeing in terms of this demand from tier 3, tier 4, tier 2 cities.
Neil, I completely agree with what you spoke about in terms of how's the brand has kind of grown so aggressively, and it has diversified over these last few years. So while we are known for the flagship LED portfolio, but we are also present across other categories like personal care appliances, mobile accessories, smart home appliances, and so on and so forth. Um, I think I need to rephrase that question that we started with, this discussion as to how the demand has been shifting. I think, from my perspective, I think demand is not shifting. I think while the demand of metro is also growing, the pace of growth, coming to us from tier two, tier three has increased. I think that is how I'll put it. So we are as a brand focusing across both the buckets, right? It is just that the lens to look at the business potential is different. The way they consume the content, the way they the customer journey is kind of different. And I also agree with what Smita spoke about in the last couple of months that we have been through this is the pandemic. I think the lockdown has actually opened up the mindsets, I guess, because I clearly see a lot of late adopters, as we call them, now, hopping onto the technology, wagon, and trying to figure out as to how they can make the most out of the situation. So right from maybe a vegetable vendor who's selling, vegetables across the street and taking the digital payments, without any hassle, to my own father who was very against digital payment processes. He was always of the opinion that I need cash in my wallet, and today is asking me, how do you do Google Pay? I think these are some of those very small examples with which we can infer very confidently that yes, we are ready for the big shift now. And I think that's where I see a lot of potential, not only for us as a FMEG brand, but for broadly everybody in this country, because uh, you know uh, you know बोलते ना, hashtag अपना time आएगा. I think now the time has come for us to make the most out of it right now. So while we, as a brand, Siska are, catering to, I would say now most of the times termed as need-based product, whether it is LED light or mobile accessories or personal care. I think, let us wait for that big shift that will happen in the next 2 to 3 years of time. I guess I think that's going to be far more exciting.
Agreed, agreed. No, very well put. And moving to Akshat, who is wearing a t-shirt in chilly Mumbai weather. Maybe I can ask, since you are at forefront of also growth in terms of content and digital platform, which penetrates much faster than the luxury you have compared to Amit or Smita, right? So can you talk about like where most of your growth is coming from and why, and what is driving it? Is it just the digital penetration, smartphone penetration in a mobile first country like India, or it is much more to that?
So I think broadly, COVID has played a very big role in escalating this adoption of internet. Right, we all knew that internet is going to grow, and I think post 2016, 2017, it is being growing at a very fast pace. However, the last 2 years have been phenomenal, and I think the adoption has only increased. I think we were estimating around 735 million people online by the end of 2021. And if you were to look at the TRI report, we crossed 799 in October 2021 itself, right? So I'm sure we've crossed 800 million people online already. So the pace at which internet adoption has increased has gone in the last 2 years has been phenomenal, and I think ShareChat as a platform has greatly benefited from that. Right, we've grown 2x, 3x in the last year and a half. We have close to 180 million monthly active users, and one of the key reasons why that has become possible is because the more deeper you go in tier 2, tier 3 towns, language becomes an important factor, right? I mean, uh, most of our consumption, in fact, we are a platform which does not have English as a language on our platform, and still we see a lot of engagement and penetration, with this. And the more we go deeper, the adoption becomes better, right? So engagement is higher, even in markets specifically in the south, like Kerala, TN, etc. We see higher engagement on language-based platforms than on English platforms. That is something which we have experienced. I think overall internet adoption and language both have helped and accelerated this. In terms of consumption, also, I think we are seeing a lot more, insights into how tier 2, tier 3 is behaving, especially in terms of online consumption. And like what we just heard, that how people are becoming more or adopting digital means of digital means of paying online, right? UPI has become a game changer, and a lot of adoption which has happened from tier 2, tier 3 towns. Consumption of e-commerce, luxury goods like clothing, accessories, beauty products, we are seeing that really do well on our platform, right? So yes, there has been a marked shift. I think uh, it's right to say that consumption is not shifting, but I think what we are looking at is a significant addition to the pie. Majority, a big part of the growth is coming from tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4, and I think that is here to stay. All brands, including FMCG, durables, auto, banking, fintech, etc. They're all looking at this, segment of our consumer who are not online, who are not, let's say, 2 years back were not online, or much was not known about them, right? What are their taste preferences and what are their propensity to consume. I think a lot of myths around this audience is getting broken, and I think platforms like ShareChat are proving to be, breaking those myths in terms of how much disposable income they have, how much they're willing to spend online, what is the ease of adoption, etc. So I think yes, quite a major shift in the last few years.
That is fantastic. The only question then comes to my mind is, if Smita, you can start with, is how, as a marketer, you look to leverage into expanding your product portfolio into this particular uh, uh, territory, basically beyond tier two, tier three. And do you see the consumption or the buying behavior completely different to Akshat's point? And even the product portfolio does it need to be tailored to tier two, tier three, tier four?
Yeah, I think it's different for different categories and more so at what stage of evolution you are, right? For our industry, a lot of the buying behavior across the country, including metros, is unbranded, not focused purchase, not involved purchase. And for us, education and unifying that conversation becomes more important. So for us, honestly, it's really been the reverse in terms of understanding consumer needs, consumer sentiments, from a health perspective, from how to improve their sleep quotient. And then metro and non-metro becomes more of a penetration strategy, right? What we're trying to do is really help everybody across the country understand how these products really improve the quality of the life, and especially because you're spending so much more time at home, including the sleep time that you have, how can you give focus to it? So how do you buy better products? And a lot of what we managed to do through the pandemic, while we've really penetrated our communication and our brand, we've also managed to get a lot of insights to launch new products, which in normal scenario might not have been possible. In the effort to scale up core existing range, we would have lost out on probably the focus to go beyond mattresses also. So today, we are a sleep solution and comfort brand. As we speak, we've launched bed linen. We've launched with antimicrobial finish, which is really, giving a very healthy space to your bedroom. We've gone into the comfort space of launching sofas and recliners because we are experts in making foam and mattresses, and that's like the most logical extension of comfort. So we've been managing to really expand our product line constantly, quarter by quarter, not even per year through the pandemic. We've also got into some very interesting extensions of the bed, which is antiviral finish mattress protector, which you're supposed to, put over the mattress, and then the bed sheet. Pillows, which are for orthopedic neck. So, net, we've really looked at consumer insights, which is without, a lens of metro or non-metro. As I
Okay.
said, brands like us, with a strengthening penetration, both online and offline, give us enough room to reach out to all sets of consumers now. So we are a very strong player online as well, which targets most of the consumer-led pin codes. Our presence is very strong on Amazon, Flipkart, our own website. So it really for us is not honestly about how do you differentiate the offering regionally and non-regionally anymore. But yes, when it comes to marketing communications, I think there it's very important to really understand the cultural sentiments, the lifestyle. So, for example, the kind of mattresses somebody buys in the north is very different from what they buy in south. The sizes, the bedroom size, I'm sure you all know, coming from Bombay, the bed is very, very non-standard, very small bedrooms. So those are the nuances that we really need to understand and tailor our communication accordingly. While our product offering is equipped to cater to your needs across the country, wherever you are. We've also gone very vernacular in our communication. So our national brand ambassador Alia Bhatt, which came on board this year, has really helped us take our message far and wide through both digital and television. And there we've made sure that the real audience who appreciates vernacular communication, we've been able to cater to that needs as well. We also had a very successful viral campaign called Sounds of Sleep, which was about regional lullabies. which had very local lingual nuances and lullabies in Tamil, Malayalam, Bengali. So those are the ways in which we really look at connecting the audience, metro, non-metro, regional, south, west, north. But yeah, as I said, in product offering and availability, we are the reverse way. We're really looking at a truly omni unified sort of an offering, and we're trying to not be very regional in that sense, so that today if somebody has a job in Gurgaon, then later moves to back home, maybe in Meerut in UP, or Duraflex is one brand across the country. So that's really what we're working towards.
Awesome, awesome. That is great. Amit, over to you. What do you think in terms of the alignment you need to do in terms of product communication and even brand communication when it comes to tier two, tier three, tier four? As Smita said, vernacular is going to be a very important part of it, but also the choice of digital platform which you choose to, right? Is also going to be. Will you use ShareChat or Instagram, right? So
So yes, I'm going to be candid in my response for sure, actually. So I think, see, as I mentioned earlier, Siska is a very, like it is everybody's brand, because the kind of products that we offer in the market, are about lighting solutions, about audio solutions, about grooming, etc. I think more than anything else, it is about the basic need that you are looking at. So I think, but when you look at your tier two and tier three, it's more about then the possibility of offering the entry level products to them. So example, if you're looking at LED products, the adoption was gradually increasing, but now it I think has reached that the pinnacle, I would say, because now everybody understands the benefit of this product, which saves a lot of money for you over a long period of time.
mm,
Smita mentioned about as to how it is important to have the right communication in terms of having the right persona also. So I think on the similar lines we had Irfan Khan for a very long time. I think it was such an unfortunate incident because of which we lost him last year, and this was in the middle of the pandemic. So we had to actually again go and relook at the possibility of connecting with the consumers across tier one, two, and three, and that's where we got Rajkumar Rao, who also happens to have a beautiful connect with everybody, classes and masses both at the same time. In terms of promotion, I think yes, I also agree that it's about going vernacular, regional, and I think when it comes to pricing, I don't see that's a major factor today now, because I think in fact tier two and tier three have more disposable income, in terms of going out and buying what they are looking at. So I think that is just a myth as far as what the data at my end says, But the only thing I ensure is that don't get carried away by those decade-long myths we had between India and Bharat. I think pretty much they are now at par. It is just that they need that small helping hand to come onto this bigger wave. Uh, and without naming any platform, I would say that I think it's a journey, it's a transition. I think Metro started with something maybe 10 years back as a platform. I will not name them, and then the entire Janta from Metro markets moved from that platform to which is a new platform. So maybe I can talk about, say, example, Facebook was something very much in 10 years back for Metro, and now today it is
yeah.
Instagram. But when you look at tier two and tier three, maybe for them it is this space of Facebook for them. So I think that's what we are realizing in lot many of our activities that we do coming from these kind of markets.
Got it, got it. Maybe Akshat, you also might have some thoughts talking about platforms, right? And how you are seeing brands leveraging your platform to address these markets.
I think a couple of points which I think are quite heartening to hear from Smita specifically on how they have looked at doing customized communication for different markets, and I think that is one of the learnings which we have on our platforms, that just merely translating a campaign which you have possibly conceived in English or Hindi for language audiences in, let's say, in a Tamil or Telugu, may not really cut cross the culture, the sense and sensibilities, and the way in which people engage or interact with content is different in different geographies. So when you're looking at communicating the same benefit of a particular product in Kerala versus in Punjab, I mean, you might have to look at different ways in which you have to communicate that basis their cultural background. So that is something which we have learned. I think translation is not enough. Uh, we've also seen higher engagements on our platform when a brand actually uh, goes and creates a customized communication for a language. I think broadly, I think there are some stats available from Google themselves that 90% of video consumption in India is actually in regional languages, right? So that itself is a big marker that how language has become a very important tool. And like what Amit was saying, that myths around this audience of tier two, tier three language audience, that they don't have enough disposable incomes and they may not be able to afford your products, is again something which we have seen on our platform not being true, right? We are also, we bring out this report every year, which we are just due to bring out in the end of this month, called the Bharat Report. Our attempt is also to break these myths, and we are in the midst of the study, and we are compiling that report, and some very interesting insights which are coming out, after the last 2 years of digital adoption, is that how disposable incomes have increased, how the tier two, tier three is spending as much, on categories which are lifestyle categories, or even need-based products, right? So from both these factors, I think tier two, tier three markets are pretty valuable and are contributing enough to all companies' top lines, which, and obviously the growth is much higher because of this smaller base. But yeah, I mean, language remains, at least from our point of view, because we are a language-based platform, and it's very
Yeah.
obvious that we will bat for it. But I think there are numbers which are there for everybody else to consume, and how it is important, and it's important not only to translate communication but actually customize communication, and it's simpler to do it online. I would expect from a TV point of view, when you are producing campaigns which go into lakhs, it's sometimes not feasible to create customized communication. But when it comes to the online medium, I mean, there are various formats which are available which help do that with ease, right? It's easier to customize communication online, and that is the benefit which I think a platform like ShareChat provides to all its brands. And we're seeing a lot of brands who are taking advantage of this and actually getting higher sales and higher traction.
Great, great. So maybe I think we are closing in on time. We started a bit late, but maybe I can request 2 to 5 more minutes from the IMA team. So before we conclude, maybe we can do a final round of question. It would be first. The first part would be, can you just give a quick takeaway of what you feel about this overall growth story, maybe in 1 or 2 bullets, and what, as a marketer, or what would be your strategy if you are a brand? I know, Akshay, you can speak in behalf of other brands who are using your platform, but for you guys, what would be like one prediction or one particular strategy which you would, as a marketer, employ to cash in on this growth? So who wants to go first? Maybe Akshay, may I put you on spot? Maybe you can go first.
Yeah, I think for us it's pretty simple. I think distilling down all our learnings from all the brands we are interacting with, the results we are seeing. I think uh, online has become a feasible option to reach out to the tier two, tier three towns. I think with the adoption of internet, I think social media, e-commerce sites in particular are, the adoption has increased quite a bit, and the joined to that is the language, piece. So language based online communication, and which is something which we should look forward to in the coming year, and that's what I think is driving a lot of growth, especially in the current times where pandemic continues to persist. I think less offline shopping, more online shopping, and penetration of internet continues to grow. So I think this 2022 will again continue to see this trend going up for all categories, in our opinion.
Agreed. So according to our research, like 50% of smartphones in India are sold online
Yes.
now, right? So, and that is increasing and if you go in like a Diwali month, it will go up to 60-65%. So if
In
smartphone
fact,
people,
one of the things which is different in 2021 from 2020 is how travel has come back in a big way on from an online point of view, right? In 2020, travel as a category almost got really marginalized because of the lockdowns, etc. But in 2021, the recent data we are seeing that travel has again come back as a very big category from an online consumption point of view. Along with gadgets, of course, grocery shopping has improved and increased with the likes of the delivery platform penetrating into smaller towns and more pushes being given this year. So a lot of new categories will also start showing in 2022.
exactly. So I think your point, vernacular communication is great. That is one key takeaway which you summarize. Smita, what about you? What would be one key takeaway prediction on a strategy a marketer should adopt?
I think I'll go on the strategy. For us, it's honestly a difficult but if done well, most effective combination of having a single-minded communication in the most personalized manner. So, getting that combination right for us is something very critical to our success as a marketing strategy. And it is difficult in execution, right? How do you say the same thing but in different ways? So that's something that we are focusing on in increasing it even more as the years pass. And a key takeaway, I think, from what both the panelists said, is about how India and Bharat are now, unified in their aspirations in what they want from brands. So how do you really cater to that? And how do you define your strategies to reach every nook and corner through the power of digital? I think digital is something, it's not tomorrow's behavior, it's already happened. I think, but to 3 years of pandemic now, it's we maximized our digital opportunity. So how do you really utilize it to the brand's benefit? Digital not only through e-commerce, but digital through knowledge sharing, digital through many facets that it has to offer. I think digital is here to stay, for all brands and all categories. So that's something that all brands should really get onto, if not yet on it.
Awesome. So now we have vernacular and we have personalization. Amit, pressure is on you to give something different.
So I would say, see, I think we are gradually moving, towards, contactless way of doing things, So right from contactless shopping, delivery, etc., payments, now to even contactless lighting also. So I think that's where my products become smart, when they're IoTized. And that's where the role of voice also comes, because these products are also now, controlled by your apps or your voice assistant. So I think as a marketeer, I am looking very closely towards the scope of voice search, because I think that's going to take away a lot of limelight, I think, in next 2 to 3 years time right now. So let's hope for a lot of action in that space.
Awesome.
I hope it was different.
Great. So maybe Yash, how are we doing on time, and do we have any questions we need to take?
I don't think we have the time for questions. I think we're out of time. Sorry about the delay once again. It was the session could have used a few more minutes, I think, but I'm afraid we'll have to close. So I'd like to thank everyone for such an engaging discussion, and especially to our panelists for their patience and our moderator for helping us conduct this. And of course, another thank you goes out to all our attendees who are here with us, and also for their patience. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe. And I think we'll be going offline now.
Thank you.
Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Stay safe.